And this first week of December is Older Driver Safety Awareness Week. And right now in Maryland, about 1 in 5 drivers is over the age of 65. And older adults are often the safest drivers. The national data shows that they face a higher risk of serious injury in a crash. And this week, the Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration is encouraging seniors and their families to take advantage of these free programs and resources that can help older drivers stay safe while still feeling independent and confident behind the wheel. That is so important, right? MVA Administrator Chrissy Nizer joining us now to talk more about, Chrissy, how families can support the older drivers they love so much. And, you know, that 1 in 5 drivers in Maryland over the age of 65 and older, I mean, that's a critical piece. That puts us in, what, 950,000 range or so of drivers that are 65 and older in Maryland. What does this mean for roadway safety in the state?
That's right. And, it's a lot of drivers who are out there, as you said, 1 in every 5. And, it's our loved ones that we want to make sure are safe out on the roadway. But we also know that license is mobility, it is freedom. And so it's important to have the conversation, if you are in that age group yourself, to recognize that there may be changes that you need to be aware of, to get your vision tested frequently, and just make sure that you are aware of the resources that are out there for you.
Right. Let's talk a little more about that. Why is this week, the Older Driver Safety Awareness Week, such an important time for Maryland?
Even though drivers who, as they age, are safer because they do regulate their driving and tend to make sure they're in safer situations, we also know that the body becomes more frail as you age. And as a result, you're more likely to be seriously injured if you happen to be in a crash. So there are many resources out there, from CarFit, which helps you really learn and make sure that your car is situated to you, from the seat height to your mirrors, to make sure that seat belt is in the right position. And knowing the safety features in your car is really so important. And so we're just emphasizing those tools are out there. Sometimes it's a hard conversation for families to have, and this week's important because it spotlights it and maybe is that opening for you to have that conversation with a loved one yourself.
Well, maybe you can help us, Chrissy, because to your point, that conversation is not easy to have, you know, with your dad or granddad or mom. Families often struggle with knowing when or how to talk about those concerns when you're dealing with an aging family member. Do you have any support or any tips to have those sensitive conversations?
There are a lot of great resources on our website, so I definitely encourage Maryland residents to go there, zerodesmd.gov, to find more information. But definitely want to encourage everybody, have the conversation now before it's too late. You're exactly right. I've had to have those conversations myself with family members. It is not easy, but we don't want to have the conversation after the fact either, after there's been a crash, after there's been injury. And again, the healing is so difficult, especially as you get older. And so much rather gently have that conversation, engage a physician, engage a trusted family member, someone who's respected, to make sure. We want safe mobility for life. And that really means you keep driving as long as it's safe to do so, but also recognizing that signs when it's no longer safe to drive.
Okay, so we have that conversation, and now we turn to you all for those specific programs. Can you touch on some of those programs in the way that you are offering help to older adults stay safe and confident?
That's right. So just little things can make a huge difference in your confidence behind the wheel. And so there are programs that literally will walk you through in your personal vehicle how to adjust your mirrors the right way, how to make sure your seatbelt is hitting at the right place. So if you are in a crash, it's not hitting you, it's keeping you safe. All those little things can make a huge difference, not only if you are in a crash, but also just in your confidence every day of feeling that you are secure behind that wheel and you are doing what you need to do. Getting your vision tested frequently is another important thing. We all know as we age, our vision changes. And so making sure you have that vision test, you have proper eyewear if necessary, and feel confident there as well. And just again, regulating your driving. A lot of times, people make decisions not to drive at night because they might not be as comfortable with it, or other decisions really to not go as far. Those are great tools, again, to keep safely behind that wheel. The goal is really to do that. And it's only when it gets to a point where somebody is unsafe that we look at whether or not they should retain that license.
That's right. One more time, Chrissy, where can folks go for more information?
I encourage you to go to zerodeathsmd.gov and you can find out great information about older driver safety as well as all safety. We want to make sure everybody gets home safely, from our older drivers to our younger drivers, and we're happy to spotlight that issue this week.
That is right, and I will be having that conversation myself with my 75-year-old father tonight. Chrissy Neiser with MVA, thank you so much.